to the greenery.
This next group of plants in our outstanding performers of 2013 happened to get hit with torrential rain last week. There was a few days in between shooting, and just look at them, they held out unbelievable. So it just shows you not only were they picked for their outstanding performance in a great summer, but they were able to handle a lot of rain as well, especially the Lobularia there, which is a type of new Alyssum from cuttings. I just can't believe them. I mean, regular seed Alyssum right now would just be completely flat and shattered. The Bidens here, Euphorbia, they're just great. So we're going to go into a little bit of detail on each of these in the next little bit. This first plant here is called Agastache Summer Sky. These are new types of Agastache that are a lot more compact than varieties that have been on the market for years. And there's going to be another series that we're going to be working with next year called the Kudos series. I do admit it did look a lot better last week. Did get affected a bit by the rain. It is close to finishing its blooming habit, which is about mid-September. But look at the bees on it. I mean, just great for bumblebees and honeybees. They just love gathering the nectar out of this plant. Full sun, just an outstanding, compact, dry heat loving plant. These next two plants have similar form, a nice rounded habit, both great basket stuffers. Can be used as sort of on the edge of the planting, sort of trail over, or kind of work its way through other plants, giving that lacy effect, especially this one here on my left. Talk about the Bidens first. This variety here specifically called Yellow Sunshine, and it trialed out this year as our best Bidens. Still no signs of mildew, and we're looking at almost middle of September, which is just great for a Bidens. Full sun. There are other varieties that we sell that are a little more vigorous and others that are quite compact. This is kind of a mid-sized variety, almost classed as a semi-double blooming habit to this. To my left here, this is year 2 for this one of my favorite new plants. I just can't get over how great this thing looks all year. It looks like this from start to finish, June to fall. Unreal. And imagine planting this in a planter, allowing other sturdier plants to kind of work their way through, and then you just got this lacy white effect sort of splashing out from the outside. And that is Euphorbia white Maneus. Just great plant. These next two plants here are types of basket stuffer heliotrope. Now, typically heliotrope, which has been around for a long time in the market, is sold as a bedding plant, which we do sell. It's a 4-pack seed variety, quite tall and can be a little bit lanky. These varieties that are sold in the basket stuffers are a lot more compact, so they're done from cuttings. This one's super tight, very fragrant too. So if anybody wants a fragrant flower, this has got to be one of the most fragrant flowers out there. Beautiful vanilla scent to them. This variety is called Heliotrope Nagano. So it's, like I said earlier, very tight and compact. To my left here, Basket Merino, more of a trailing type, or fuller habit. Can be used in a hanging basket on its own. I've seen people do that. Just have this type of plant in a hanging basket, makes a great form, or you can do it in a mixed basket as well. Just a great full sun plant for the Okanagan. Well, if you like daisies, nothing beats these two plants here. This one just makes me smile. It's so bright and cheery with that nice dark glossy green leaf and the bright yellow daisies. Just a great plant. It's called Euryops Sunshine, and somewhat similar to the one on the left. These are this type of marguerite called Vera, and it trialed out as our best marguerite out of all the other varieties this summer. Some marguerites can be accused of having a period in the heat of the summer, not having a lot of flower power on them. Not this one, all summer, solid white, just a great, great variety of marguerite. Going back to the Euryops here, this is a great plant to make standards out of. So if you want to have a sort of an interesting centerpiece, you can prune off the lower branches and create like a rounded tree habit in the center of a planter. And imagine some dark blue wave petunias underneath that and some red geraniums. I mean, just would make an outstanding planter. Just a great plant. This next plant here is a bit of a wild card. Didn't even make it into a display pot for trialing this summer. With some leftover product that didn't sell out at the end of the season. Was out on our sprinkler line, got back from holidays, and boom, there was just full of these beautiful flowers coming up in its first year. It was one of the reasons it didn't sell as fast as we thought. The plants looked quite small until end of June. Anyways, it's called Agapanthus Blue Yonder. It's one of the darkest blue agapanthus I've seen. Common name is Lily of the Nile. It's a great cut flower, full sun. And this variety, believe it or not, is rated zone 5, so minus 29 Celsius. So we are going to plant one out in the display garden and see if it'll survive our winters. And if it does, that's just a great new fit for the perennial garden. These next two plants here are varieties of Lantana. They were shown on last year's 2012 top performers as well, and there's a reason for that. They're one of my favorite plants, and they seem to look better the hotter it is. It's hard to find a plant that can match the Okanagan heat. Well, these do. So full sun, almost a shrubby type plant. You can create a standard out of them as well. The butterflies love them. So lots of positive features about this plant. Now this one here on the left is called Lucky Rose Sunrise, and this is Lucky Flame. One of my favorite things about this plant is the way the flower is constructed and how it changes colors. So if we were to look a little bit closer here, you can see it almost looks like just different colors of small flowers making up the large head, but they actually change color. So they start opening up in the middle, this variety here at least, going from yellow to orange to pink. And then when it's fully developed, the whole head will look pink, like this one over here. And then they will slowly drop off. They naturally shed, so there's no deadheading involved on this type of plant. Same goes over here with this variety, the Lucky Flame. Again, it starts with yellow in the center, going to orange, and then going to red on the outside, and then they all will eventually be red, and that's a sign of a fully developed head. So it just makes a great contrast between all three colors in each head. Just one of my favorite plants. This plant here was introduced to you in last year's segment of Top Performers 2012. It's Lobularia. There was only the one color in the series last year, and that was this one here, Silver Stream. There now are 4 colors in the series. We've got Lavender Stream, Summer Stream, and White Stream. And as I was saying earlier, typically Alyssum in a heavy rainstorm would be flat. All the flowers would be shattered. It would look quite ugly, but these held out unbelievably. I just can't get over it. And it was true all summer. I mean, they just were a solid mass of color. So they are a little bit more money than regular seed Alyssum. So this is a propagated type of Alyssum done from cutting. So we sell it in our basket stuffer section, but it's worth the money. If you're doing a real higher end mixed basket, say, and you want a nice mass of white or lavender or something popping out, I would prefer going with this. Even for large beds, typically where seed Alyssum would be used, and start looking at using this as a replacement. You wouldn't need as many plants. They are a little more vigorous as well. So just a great plant for full sun in the Okanagan. These next two plants here are one of our favorite trailing basket stuffers. They're both types of Scaevola. This one here to my left is called Blue Haze, and this is called Diamond. Now, the original Scaevola that came out was just a standard blue color, so we selected a couple varieties that are a little bit different in their coloration. If we were to look closer to this one below me, you can see it's kind of got regular blue habit, but then a nice violet streak running down the middle of each petal. Oh, and by the way, these are commonly called fan flower, and you can see that because it just looks, each flower looks like a fan. There's made up of 5 individual petals in a fan shape. So just a really nice plant for full sun, color on it the whole season, and not affected by heavy rain. This one here to my right, the Diamond variety, interesting in that it's got a very faint blue edge to the white, quite a bit different than just the standard blue variety that came out quite a few years ago. This next plant here is a type of Asclepias or milkweed. butterfly flower, many common names on it. I mean, we could do a whole segment on the different species of Asclepias. There's, I think, about 400 species in the world. One of the key plants necessary for monarchs to breed. There's some native species in eastern Canada where they would lay their eggs and the larvae hatch there, and that's one of their main food sources. So very, very important plant. This variety here is just an annual variety that we started growing this year. It's called Asclepias Silky mix, and it does attract butterflies, so a great plant if you love your butterflies. And just a nice mix of 3 colors. You've got the yellow here, and one that's a little more orangey, right there. And then you can see here, this one's a shade darker as well. It has a darker stem and darker leaf to it, giving the flower a darker pigment, more of a red. They all have that sort of yellow center, but the outer petals would be sort of a reddish color, orange and yellow. So just want to throw it in here for all those people that love butterflies.